Forget dusty ledgers and complicated charts for a moment. Today, we start with a single number, $135,600. That's the median net worth for an American household between ages 35 and 44. Half have more, half have less. But is that enough for retirement? Let's forget about the dusty ledgers and confusing charts for a minute. Today, we're going on a quest, a practical journey to understand and conquer retirement savings. And every quest needs to start with a map. So let's get the lay of the land.
Narrator, voiceover. Every retirement journey comes with dragons to slay, silent inflation eating away at savings, volatile markets testing your patience, and debt that weighs you down like a heavy backpack.
But any good quest has obstacles. We've got financial dragons to slay. First, the silent nibbler, inflation. Then the loud and scary beast of market volatility. And finally, the heavy weight of debt. Every dollar you owe is a dollar subtracted from what you're truly worth.
But every hero needs weapons, budgeting to control where your money goes, automating savings to make it effortless, investing wisely to outpace inflation, and crafting a long-term strategy that actually works for you.
So how do we fight back? We build our toolkit. It starts with knowing where your money is going. Then we employ the most powerful weapon, automation. Making saving the default is an absolute game changer. Finally, we need a long-term strategy, adjusting our approach as we get closer to the summit.
Okay, let's forget about all the dusty ledgers and the confusing charts for a minute. Today we're going on a quest, a practical journey to really understand and, hopefully conquer retirement savings. So let's start with a number, $135,600. What is that? Well, that's the median net worth for an American household between the ages of 35 and 44. It's the exact middle of the road. Half of households have more and, half have less. And that number, well, it really makes you stop and think, right? After putting in years, maybe even decades of hard work, seeing a figure like that can be a little jarring. The big question is that really going to be enough for all the years of retirement ahead? So, every good quest has to start with a map. Before we try to climb this mountain, we need to get the lay of the land. So let's really dig into what the numbers are telling us. So take a look at this table. What immediately jumps out at you? For me, it's that huge gap between the average net worth and the median net worth. I mean, look at that 35 to 44 group again. The average is over $500,000, but the median is just that $135,600. So what's going on there? And here's why that gap exists. That big average number, it gets yanked way up by a handful of people with a ton of money. The median, on the other hand, gives us a much more honest look at things. It shows you what's actually going on for the typical, everyday household. And look, this isn't just a problem for a few people here and there. We're talking about almost everyone. A staggering 92% of working households have retirement savings that are below what experts recommend. This is a massive, widespread challenge. All right, so we know where we stand. But any good quest has obstacles, right? We've got some financial dragons to slay that can try to knock us off course. First up is the sneakiest dragon of them all, inflation. This thing doesn't even roar. It just silently nibbles away at the value of your savings. The money you put away today just won't buy as much stuff tomorrow. It's that simple, which means you've got to save more just to stay in the same place. And if you look back, this isn't some new problem. These periods of high inflation pop up again and again, usually tied to really big world events, everything from wars to pandemics. It's a challenge that pretty much every generation of savers has to deal with. Okay, dragon number 2 is the opposite. It's loud, it's scary, it's market volatility. When the market starts to tumble, our gut reaction is to panic, to sell everything. But as experts like Sam Stovall point out, that's often the worst thing you can do. You risk selling right at the bottom and locking in all your losses for good. And then there's our third dragon, debt. It's really simple when you boil it down. Every single dollar you owe is a dollar that gets subtracted from what you're worth. It's like trying to run a race with a backpack full of rocks. And this dragon sticks around for a long time. It follows people right into their golden years. For folks over 65, the most common type of debt is actually high-interest credit card debt. That is a heavy weight to carry when you're not bringing in a steady paycheck anymore. Okay, we've met the dragons. Now how do we fight back? It's time to build our toolkit, to forge our weapons for the financial journey ahead. And really, it comes down to 4 essential steps. Think of these as the sword and shield for our quest. They're the practical tools that help you turn that vague hope for retirement into a real, concrete plan.
Let's talk about budgeting for a second. I know, the word sounds awful, right? Like a diet for your wallet, but it's not about restriction. It's about knowing where your money is actually going, which gives you the power to point it where you want it to go, like into your future.
Now this is maybe the most powerful weapon in our entire arsenal: automation. The difference here is just wild. When people have to consciously choose to sign up for a savings plan, only about 42% do it. But when they're signed up automatically and have to consciously choose to leave, that participation rate jumps to 91%. Making saving the default option is an absolute game changer.
So, we've got our tools, but a warrior with tools and no plan is just flailing around, right? We need a strategy. We need to chart the course for the long journey of building wealth.
A really common strategy is all about adjusting your mix of investments as you get older. It makes a ton of sense when you think about it. When you're young, you have decades to ride out the market's ups and downs, so you might lean heavily into stocks for growth. As you get closer to retirement, you might shift more into bonds to protect what you've built.
So what's the bottom line here? It's that trying to play it too safe can actually be the riskiest move of all. Hiding your money under the mattress guarantees it's going to lose value to that inflation dragon. Real growth comes from staying in the game because historically, the market always recovers. On average, it takes just 4 months.
All right, so what does the end of the quest actually look like? For this last part, let's talk about how the whole idea of retirement is changing. It's not so much an endpoint anymore, but a whole new chapter.
You know, more and more people are realizing that retirement doesn't have to be this full stop. Instead, finding flexible part-time work can be great. It's not just about the extra income. It's about staying engaged, staying social, and keeping that sense of purpose.
And people are getting so creative with this stuff. I mean, a scarecrow actor? That's amazing. They're turning hobbies and things they love into fun money for travel or whatever else, all while staying active and having a good time.
Look, at the end of the day, this whole big quest, from slaying dragons to forging tools, it's really just a series of small steps. It all comes down to that very first one you decide to take. So the only real question is, what's yours going to be?
Narrator VO said, "Retirement isn't the end of your story, it's a whole new chapter."
So what does the end of the quest look like? It's not an endpoint, but a whole new chapter. It's flexible work that provides purpose. It's turning hobbies into fun money. This whole big quest, it's really just a series of small steps. It all comes down to the very first one you decide to take. So the only real question is, what's yours going to be?